Alright, so I think most of the people here tend to probably be Italian. There has been an influx of Latin immigrants. So the people that you see here are mostly owners from generation to generation. The person that I bought the place was in his family for a long time, and he passed away, and then he had 6 children, adult children, elderly children even, didn't really want to didn't have to deal with this place. The new influx of immigrants is probably a lot less lately because there's been a certain gentrification taking place, and it's too bad, but it is what it is. That's the nature of things, and we don't like it, but it's happening that way. Alright, what else? Let's do a little quick tour. So that's the place right here. And that's where the gentrification happens, when you see guys walking with tiny little pooches. Not their fault, I love pooches too, but so all the housing stock is the same. So this is probably a community that was created in the 1910 excuse me, 1910, 1920, maybe even 1900. Yeah, 1900. So but you could see that at least this part anyway, because there are parts where it's not as good, they've been taken care of. They have been taken care of, courtesy of these, you know, real estate development that's, you know, that's piggybacking off. Here you go, of the lack of housing here in the Boston area, and by the way, anywhere around the country, so I'm hearing. So many of these are actually newer than the one that we see at 1920, but they all have the same structure. The city is very adamant that you cannot touch any, you cannot alter the architecture, and part of me doesn't like the idea, part of me agrees with it. Excuse me. So it's very family oriented. You can see people with kids, and that's because there are schools, and well, that's because it's a city. So I'm making an extra detour before I. There's a collection of restaurants, but places here. You know, as you would expect in small looking towns, even though it's part of Boston, so that's really not that small. Nevertheless, I'm just making a little detour here so that I film what's around. This set of traffic lights. Oh, I thought this is parking. That's interesting. Anyway, I'm going to turn right. So this is parallel to Saratoga Street, the street where we work, and you can see it's much more commercial, but it's not crazy commercial. It's not like you're in the middle of the, you know, this is not Flatbush, New York. There's stuff going on there. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Yeah, you've got a lot of kids again. Probably the same ones we saw earlier, but you see there's more new development here, new building. and right behind it, or actually right near near it, is one subway station. So from where I am to to here, you've got the blue line that takes you straight to downtown Boston, which is really literally 5 minutes. You got a public bicycle system here, a rack. What else do we have? You have obviously these houses. I feel bad because they're right behind. No, I was going to say they're right in front of the subway, but the subway goes down Now there's old houses that really need to be renovated or destroyed, but you know what, their time is going to come, because this gentrification going on, that's pricing out people and offering them cash incentives. In fact, I get calls, 2-3 calls probably every 2-3 weeks from investors who want to buy the place. The problem is they're corporate investors, which means they buy, refurbish, and then double the rent price, and I don't like the idea. One of my tenants, I saw them today for the first time actually, and they had a beautiful infants and children, and really it would be a shame if they find themselves out. I asked the guy what he does for a living, and I understood with my little Spanish that he is in a fish business. So I don't know if he works in a restaurant or he sells fish. Regardless, it still is, these are not the type of people that make a lot of money. Anyway, there's something else, Excel Academy, and my place is right here, right behind this. Excel Academy is a school, and it's right there. The school is charter school, which means it's semi-private or private with some government funding. I think that's probably all I can tell you about this neighborhood. Now, how far are you from Boston? Well, you are literally, if you're driving, you got to go down the tunnel, and that should get you to Boston in literally 5 minutes. And you're also 5 minutes to Logan Airport. So so it's really ideal for as a location, because you are in the city without being in a city. You are in a clean neighborhood, and you're close to everything, and you have a subway system, and it's all nice and dandy. There's the highway here. Of course, you get sort of the old gas terminal for the that's part of the Port of Boston, I think. But so far so good. It just doesn't bother me. More construction or more remodeling, that's where you see this gentrification taking place, and that's what's changing the landscape. But you do have the little mom and pop businesses. Also, it's a walking place. It has a very good walking score on one of those websites that assesses the the walkability and the living conditions of neighborhoods. And this one, basically, yes, you can walk to anywhere. You don't need a car, let's put it that way. If your focus is to work in the city and to be able to do food shopping, etc., this is actually pretty good. So I am going to fill up the tank. Wish me luck, because I have this big van which I have no idea how much it's going to cost to put gas, but I am cost mindful, and that's that. So until next time, goodbye. Alright, so yeah, it turned out not to be bad. It's 57 for a full fill up. Now I am curious to see about this Constitution Beach, which is basically literally right behind or in front of the house. and I was given some directions on how to get there. So we're gonna go for a quick ride since we don't really need to be anywhere. Why do I have the feeling that these are religious people? I heard Jesus, and this they sound very much. They sound very much Portuguese. Right lane must turn right. Now I do not know if I could go or not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's why I need to be careful. I don't even know if I'm breaking rules here. Oh, there you go. Okay, so there's another subway station here, and then there's another one absolutely a minute away from the house. The problem is, well, it looks like we should be able to go now. I'm just gonna approach and pretend I don't know what the hell's going on. Alright, there you go. So know if I'm entering the right place, but I'm gonna try this. He said right and then right. Yeah, there you go. There's a beach here. What do you say? I mean, it's not Las Terrenas, but it's the Constitution Beach. Yeah, so for those people who say, oh, we don't have beaches in Massachusetts, think about it twice. I'm gonna park here for a moment. I hope I don't get slammed. It's the first time I see parking non-paying. What kind of country is this? Uncivilized. Okay. Let's check it out, guys. Oh, you know what I see too? I'll tell you what I see. You will see with me. They call it a beach, but you know, it's really a park. Well, it's a park with a beach. Okay, they have sand. They have how do you call these guys? Guards. So what you see up in the horizons there is Logan Airport. You know, it's a decent blend of urban lifestyle and so this is your subway going to from Boston to part of the North Shore. So it goes along sort of the eastern coast, and there is the city of Boston, and there is the north, including a city called, all the way to a city called Revere. Now, obviously, due to the weather, people are not bathing. I mean, you gotta be out of your mind to bathe. This is, as I said, Las Terrenas, right? And this looks like it's the low tide. You can feel the low tide here. You can see it. Yeah, you still have some people who, you know, like to pretend that it's Las Terrenas. Anyway, the airport is there. Brand new apartment housing is gotta cost a fortune because you're by the water. A bicycle path, I'm not sure how far it goes, where it goes. And then obviously you have the people that are strolling and having and enjoying some you know, some, well, it's 3 p.m. on Friday, enjoying a quiet Friday, a quiet afternoon. This is because it's a northeastern city, it's multicultural, multiracial. So you've got American Muslim Americans. There is a Jewish community, but obviously there's a big Italian community, and there's clearly a very big Latino community, and it's never heard of any problems here. So far, so good. All right, so this is another neighborhood in the same area. It also feels residential. There's even a stewardess who lives here. She lives here, and she works at the airport a minute away. Go figure. So this is where the gentrification takes place. Now, the truth is there's a nearby town called Chelsea, a very depressed place. And, you know, but as East Boston becomes a little outdated, as East Boston becomes gentrified too, eventually the Chelsea will follow suit as well. So this is Saratoga Street as well. So this is the street where that you know, that gets me home from here. But rather than going to the left to the house, we're just going to leave the house alone, and we are going to go to the right towards the city of Revere, I think. We got a butchery, we got a tobacco and a cigar room. We've got Angela's, a taste of, I cannot see, a taste of, anyway, Orion Heights Market. So Orion Heights across from this, exactly there, as another subway station that takes you to either the city or it takes you to Revere. Revere is the town. Is a town. Okay, so Angela, a taste of Puebla. So there you've got also a bus station there, a subway station. If you are a city person and you really don't need a car, and all you want once in a while is to use a bicycle or a zip car, one of those zip cars, then I don't think you need anything more than this, to be honest with you. And that's where I'm excited. I'm excited to demonstrate. So I'm going off the beaten path here, just to go, well, I think what's called the North Shore of Boston. All right, so this is the neighborhood of Beachmont, and Beachmont is just south of Revere. Right after Beachmont is Revere. There is a, if I recall, yeah, there is a subway station here also. So we drove along the blue line. As a matter of fact, I actually used to live here. In fact, the first apartment that I got, I think, when I came to this country, is exactly around here, and I'll show you. Funny how you know how what goes around comes around. So this is also a heavily Italian. Okay, good. Excuse me. Sorry. So I used to live. I'll tell you a little interesting story about this place. Very interesting story. So this is quite an Italian neighborhood, right? I used to live, you see that building, that corner building down there to the right there, and so I used to live in the basement apartment. And in that basement apartment, coming out of Algeria, I had absolutely nothing. All I had is a backpack full of trash, I mean clothes that are old, and a coffee maker. And somebody said, oh, you know, be careful, they're gonna come and steal. And my answer was like, really? If they come here, they're just gonna be so sad that they're gonna leave $10 on the table. That's how I thought. That's what I thought. And guess what? Well, the story goes this way. One day, I come from work or from whatever, and I see cops. And they say, oh, you live here? I said, yeah. I said, well, you've been robbed. Or burglared, whatever the right term is. So they took the coffee maker and my backpack full of my old clothes. And well, you know, few weeks later, they caught them, but they didn't have enough evidence to you know, to lock them up. So what they did is basically they told me, okay, you know, these are the guys, but there's not much recourse, so there's nothing we could do. So now we are in the town of Revere, and I like it. I don't really know, but anyway, I think what it's known for its beach area here. It's a long beach, and then you have these are new development, obviously. It's your typical northeastern beach, but you do have obviously these new buildings. Not super appealing, but anyway, good enough. There is, what is this? This is oh, look at that. There's even a restaurant and a bar. Yeah, I gotta be careful filming while driving. Anyway, I think you come back here in a few years, it's probably gonna, all this land is gonna be taken away by buildings, but you do have strollers in summer, which is, we are summer. Typically this place tends to be packed, but there has been a storm. What else there is to know? Okay, so I recall, you know, many years ago, coming to a bar here, and by Revere law, the bar closes at 2. Guess what happened after 2? I'm gonna let you guess. You have 10 seconds to guess, but I'm gonna say it before 10 seconds. The owner of the bar closes, and then he takes us to his house where the party continues. Yeah, don't tell me, don't ask me where this place is exactly, but I vividly remember I was actually shocked and somewhat pleased, because yeah, I was 2 o'clock, it was too early for me. So it was fun and people behaved. Yes, I remember it was not just his house, it was the basement of his house. Oh, look at all these developments, all these new houses. Well, yeah, that's why I cannot find construction people. I mean, look, this is not bad. It's not a great view. I mean, it's not Las Terrenas, but yeah, I bet you it's a little more expensive than buying you know, anywhere on Las Terrenas. It's probably a pretty expensive place. I know that they are really concerned about lack of you know, lack of low-cost housing, or affordable housing they call it. I don't think these are affordable housing, to be honest with you, because they're probably premium due to the fact that they are across from this. Again, it's very dreary. You almost feel like you're in Manchester, England, or Liverpool, England, but it's when the sun shines and the weather is nice, it's pretty good. But wow, development everywhere, condominiums everywhere, and hey, good for them, I say. Now there is a place here, an eatery, which is fantastic. They do mostly sandwiches, really, roast beef and things like that, but they've been around for decades. I can't remember the name, but I will try to remember. I will try to find it. Mike's roast beef? Mike's roast beef? Maybe not, but it's around the corner. And really, for a summer Friday, it feels really subdued. I think part of it, let's be realistic. Okay, there it is. Kelly's roast beef. Love this place. If you are in Revere, go to Kelly's roast beef. You gotta love it. So again, really subdued. I think part of it is the fact that I'm gonna let these guys pass. Is the fact that it's COVID-19 era. In summer 2021, you know, but you can see all these condominiums that people are building. It's pretty amazing, and I have had a hard time finding people who can do some construction work with me. But you see, these have been here for a long time. These little restaurants, little kiosks, I would call them little kiosks. And they are dwarfed by these well, not high-rises, but you can call them high-rises if you want. So you can see this is actually a pretty long beach, and it goes for, I'm not sure how many miles, maybe 4, 5, 6 miles. It goes all the way there. This is an island over there called Winthrop, I think, Winthrop, and it's connected by a bridge. So it's really an island that's connected by a bridge. You got people having a good time. What else there is to know? Heavily Italian guys, huh? I love the Italian guys because there's a lot of good food, there's a lot of good time, and it's fun. Wow, they've built up this place. It used to be a desert. It used to be a desert, and now it's completely built up. I guess just a matter of time, right? You need to you need roofs over people's heads, and that's the way to do it. Oh, the lovers. Are they lovers? Maybe not. Maybe not. This part is no longer high-rises. Is a bunch of houses that have been here for a long time. Maybe some of them are new, but no, these have been here for a long time. I remember those. Those are so this is a place where you can't really build high-rises or buildings, bigger buildings, because there's not enough land to do it. So it's still, I think, for people that live here or who own these places, it's a pretty good piece of real estate they got. And I'm gonna stop here because my phone is ringing. I just want to make sure there's nothing urgent. Alright, so I drove off about 4 or 5 miles north of Revere, and you can see this is the city of Lynn, a very depressed city, and it's really having a hard time getting out of its funk. But you can see that even here there is more development. There's more housing. So I used to. First time I came to the U.S., I studied English here. Right, you see this brick building behind the trees, and that's the North Shore Community College. Beautiful little campus, nice, clean. Looks like they're doing some work. Very quickly within 3-4 months, I actually became a teacher, an adjunct faculty, believe it or not. You know, not that I was smart or excessively smart. It happens that one of the teaching staffs just you know, had to go because he or she had a family loss, and it was in the middle of the semester and they were stuck, couldn't find anyone. Turned out a couple of my teachers suggested that I would do it, so I started teaching. I taught English, yes, while studying English. That's funny. And at some point I started to work also in the computer lab, and then from there I started, you know, they offered me a teaching position for what back in the old days they called it computer sciences. So this is actually a pretty nice stretch of the Linway, or the city of Lynn, or they call it, I think they call it the Linway. And if you stay on along the ocean here, it will take you, it's another stretch of the ocean, by the way, it will take you to two super beautiful you know, coastal towns, very historic. You may have heard of Salem, even though Salem is no longer what, or is not what, if you've never been there, is not what you think it is. It's yes, they call it the witch city. At the end of the day, there's really not much witching going on. There's obviously museums and stuff, but anyway, I think let me go back for a moment. The first city that you see after Lynn here is a city called Swampscott, and yes, I lived there as well. Swampscott is you know, it's sort of separated from Lynn because Lynn is big opulent and is you know, is low income, mostly low income city. Swampscott is sort of the opposite. Swampscott is where sort of the rich business owners, that the businessmen that, or women that own you know, places in Lynn live in Swampscott. Something like that. It probably happens everywhere, right? And then further down, all the way down, which is really far, I don't think we're gonna go there today, maybe tomorrow, is really picturesque New England coastal town called Marblehead. So it's like taking the word marble and the word head and put them together. Marblehead. Remember that. Go visit it. The houses are like from the 1600s. That's the 17th century. Yeah. And hey, let's see. Yeah, so Marblehead is really, the houses are tiny. They are on top of each other, but there's beautiful alleyways, little roads, little streets that take you to different restaurants. And by the way, if you cannot smell the ocean from here, I'll tell you, it smells, I don't know if it smells good or awful. It smells good, awful. So this is a nice walking area. A lot of people walk for you know, to exercise, and there you go. It's a beautiful area. It's nice for just parking, and I think parking is free, so that's an extra bonus. People that have houses, these houses have been here for a long time. These are like really start of the, you know, turn of the century type of thing, and I don't mean turn of the 21st century, I mean turn of the 20th century. Right there at the edge of that rock is a restaurant that's been there for a long time. Fun place to be. It has big windows, so you could see. You have a beautiful view, and the food I don't remember. I'm not gonna make any judgment call. I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, because when I used to come here, I was in a different frame of mind, believe it or not, and that's what growing up does, or aging. Some people say aging. I'd say growing up, but a part of growing up or aging is memory loss. I can't remember. I would say the food is probably very very New England-ish, and then you probably have the typical stuff, American stuff, burgers and sandwiches, but there's probably a lot of fish too, even though I have no idea if this is a place rich of fish. In any case, this place is called, I don't know if they changed the name, but it looks like Mission. Is that possible that they changed the name? Mission on the Bay. Don't know. But so this is a different demographics than in Lynn. Lynn, there's a great deal of immigrant community. Bless them, work hard. And here are mostly business owners and people, wealthier people that like to live in small communities. So there's another good restaurant there too, Anthony's Piers, something like that. So you have your quintessential church. Of course, in every town, in every small American town, there's a church, and why not? It's cute. And then you have these little, well, they're not little, these big houses on the water, and why not? So this is your typical sort of New England town. You have a beach area here. People are doing kayaking and waterboarding. Boarding? I don't know, I'm using the wrong terms, so forgive me. So the place I used to live is right behind these houses. It's overlooking the water too, and it's beautiful. So I don't know where I'm gonna go, right and left. I'm gonna take left. I don't know where right takes me, but left is gonna take me somewhere as well. So being the North Shore, if you do not know, the north part of Boston is absolutely packed with people. There is a huge dense population density, and yeah, at some point all you see are cars. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that, but of course, depends where you live. There's some places where it's pretty empty, but most of the North Shore is a highly dense area. Here I think this is an elderly people's home. All right, more scenery, more views from the area. So again, from my house, this is probably about 10 miles north, perhaps even more, but I would say I would estimate it 10 miles north, and all you need to do is just drive along the ocean front, and that's not the Pacific. For some of you who think that's the Pacific, no, that's the Atlantic Ocean. And so where this is gonna lead, if my memory serves, this is gonna lead to the city of Salem, and you could see why the wealthy people don't want to be in the city of Flynn. Not that there's nothing wrong with the city of Flynn, it's just that this is more settled in terms of the landscape, in terms of the amount of wealth that there is. So Swampscott is a much wealthier community than Lynn. Further down after Salem, or maybe slightly different direction, is as I said, the town of Marblehead. The town of Marblehead is extremely expensive. I mean, it's one of those places that a house that you would not want to live in because it's so old, from the 17th century, goes for $1 million or more dollars. Why? Because there's a lot of artists and you know, people that you know, get in there for, you know, for the beauty of it, and then over time that attracts money. So you know, it's cute, it's cool, but it's probably for people who want a lot of space, that's probably okay. Well, actually, we avoided Salem, and we will eventually get into Salem at some point. So here we are in Marblehead. Even though I did not want to be here, I am here. And you can see the transition from sort of a big city-ish to a big town. I wouldn't say a village. Actually, the downtown Marblehead is a village. So yeah, and you can see these homes are not the type of houses that well, some of you, not all of you, but some of you and myself cannot afford. And do you want to be here? I don't know. Do I want to own it? Yeah, why not? But be here means you're settled. I don't know. It feels too settled. But it's a big debate, and I am not here to debate. I'm just here to describe what my eyes can see and what these lenses are showing to you. So we're driving towards downtown Marblehead, and that's at that point that you will see how downtown Marblehead is actually a village. So I'm going to stop this particular filming so my battery doesn't die. Yeah, I keep getting calls because I put an ad on Craigslist and they will not leave me alone. So you know, there's something called a voicemail. They can just leave a message and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. That's what my message says. Okay, so we're entering, I think we're entering Swampscott. No, sorry, we're entering the old town of Marblehead. And really, if you are in the Boston area and you have time, you have a car, because yeah, I don't think you can get here on foot. I mean, not sorry, on foot, on bus or train. There's no train that gets you all the way here, from what I know. Okay, so the streets are pretty small, but you can see this is sort of your quaint little town. And of course you have CVS. Well, people need pharmacies and medicines, right? It's one of the oldest towns in the area, and they've done everything they can to keep it the way it's always been. And as you get closer to the village, the houses become sort of similar to well, to what they've always had back in the old days. Sorry, I'm mumbling and rumbling because I have to keep an eye on what's going on around me. This is actually a relatively big vehicle for me. I never drive trucks like these. Anyway, so okay, so here's what I mean by sort of the old-fashioned. You feel the type of place that Salem would look like, yeah? And Salem looks like this as well. So these are very old houses. They are extremely small inside, extremely inefficient in terms of, but the people that buy them eventually end up fixing them and figure out how to remodel them and make them nice and turn them into $1 million homes. So is it a walking place? Yeah, I guess you could walk, and the good thing is, as you get closer to the water, there are restaurants. I think there are restaurants. Let's see if there are restaurants here. There's a tarot reader. What else there is? I think there are some really good seafront or waterfront restaurants. Again, the beaches here are not necessarily for you know, for swimming. It's too cold unless you don't mind. But let's take a tiny route. Let's take this one for example. This is obviously residential, but you know, if you have a moped like that guy does, that's wonderful. You know, your life will be much better. But you could see that there's really hasn't been. They kept the charm, I guess, for, you know, I guess for many people, keeping the charm of gone by eras. And you know, I mean, some people like to destroy and build brand new stuff, but I don't know. I mean, not gonna happen here. Okay. Yeah, I'm on. So that's yeah. I mean, those places are the ones that are listed for sale. They're listed by Sotheby's, not by your regular. You know, not by your regular real estate agent. This is a very good restaurant, if I recall, if my memory serves again. The Landing. You've got your basically your basic, not basic, your good New England type of food. If you're into clam chowder and lobster, clam chowder and lobster. That would be a place, but it can get pretty packed. Yeah, residential, and more residential. And these are very old houses that cost an arm and a leg. Where are we headed? I do not recall. I think we're gonna loop back, and as we loop back, we connect with the city of Salem. And Salem is a nice city, even though I know people that were, what's the word, that were, there's another restaurant, the Barnacle. This is actually a good one too. Okay. All right. The Barnacle. These are really nice places to try something different. This, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a hotel. Adam House. Don't know. Oh, I remember this place. Look at that. Yeah. So there used to be, not a throughway. Okay, fine, not a throughway. I'm just gonna turn around. There used to be an amusement park. Not an amusement park. Well, just a park. Alright, so it says all. I guess we reached probably the end of this stretch. But have a look. Yeah, so this is the low tide. And that's probably why you're seeing all these rocks and the kids, you know, climbing them. But this is sort of your really typical New England, you know, New England village along the water. I'm not, you know, I'm not really sure how to call them. Excuse my language. Anyway, so this is, if you recall in the beginning, I said these are compact villages. By compact, basically, you can see people are fixing. Alright, so I had to stop for a minute because my battery died. and I needed to replace it with a fresh battery, which is good because this is the first time it's a spare battery that I bought separately from the camera, and I'm gonna test it today. So now we are exiting, we're leaving Marblehead, and these kids look like they are fishing aficionado, and I think we're headed towards where? And I don't really know where to go, but we're headed towards, no, I got it wrong. We're headed towards towards Salem. I picked the wrong turn, but I'm gonna turn left here and it should get me somewhere. So hey, you know, when you're a kid and you have a bicycle and a helmet and this, that, and the other, yeah, this is good. Fishing is probably a fun thing to do, and you will remember that when you're a kid, when you're an adult, when you're an older guy. Right, older guys? Anyway, alright, so Salem has got to be to the right this way. This is a Japanese, fine Japanese cuisine. Why not? Oh yeah, I remember this place too, the Warwick Theater. It's a tiny community theater, and they have all sorts of not amateur movie, but classic movies. Classic movies, probably better than amateur. Classic. They were absolutely not amateur. Casablanca, the movie Casablanca, was not amateur. Some sort of a plaza here. Is a house for rent, and I am assuming this is gonna lead me to Salem, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be very upset. No, I won't be upset. Actually, yes, I'll be upset. I don't know what it says. It says Coastal Scenic Byway, whatever that means. It's probably, this is the Scenic Byway. No, yeah, I think this is gonna get me to Salem. Yay. Why am I excited is because, well, guess what? I used to live there too. Courtesy of my beautiful Uncle Hussein and my sister, that is his wife really, Lisa, and these were beautiful people, and they still are beautiful, and I love them. That's all I have to say. You know, if it weren't for them, I would not be here. Yeah, there you go. So if you go left, that would be Boston, and if you go straight, that would be Salem, Massachusetts. All right, I think, like the poet said, all roads lead to Salem. I don't think nobody said that, unless you're considering me a poet. So I don't recall. Yeah, so this is Salem. maybe not. It feels like Salem. It smells like Salem. Therefore, it is Salem. Oops. There you go. Yeah, turned a little too fast. So, okay, so it's on the way to Salem. I think it's part of Salem, and if it is, well, it's you know, this. Yes, I remember this place. You can see it does not resemble you know, the 17th century, or even, I don't think it was the 16th century, it was 17th century, the witch trial. I think it was like 1600s. So that's not it, but there are houses that you know, that basically were built in that era and are still around. and they are saved as part of whatever Salem heritage. But this is where things happened, where and I am not gonna say I know the story because I do not know fully. I know what Hollywood tells you, that they were witches and they were killed because people thought that they were doing this, that, and the other. But I don't know how much to believe Hollywood. Let's see. So. Domingo Dominguez. How about that guy, huh? And he's from Santo Domingo. It's it's a probably a middle income to low income, or to lower income town. It doesn't look like that it's as and I'm gonna let this guy go, that is as rich as Marblehead and Swampscott. Well, it's also bigger, so that's that. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of cars, so I'm just gonna have to go anyway because it'll never end. Yeah, I have a little bit of a memory loss here. I just don't remember 100%. This place, well, it's certainly Salem. Yeah, I do remember. I think to the left over there is, oh, okay, I got it. To the left over there, and I'm gonna turn anyway, is the I'm just gonna go. To the left there is the courthouse. To the right here are the businesses. I used to hang out here quite a bit. In fact, it used to be a bar, a dance club, blah blah blah. Where are we here? Yeah. Derby. That's what it is, the Derby. I'm surprised that they kept this main, you know, where the road there, the street there where the fire truck is. It's packed with people walking, and I would have thought that eventually at some point, excuse me, at some point they would turn it into a walking only, pedestrian only. Instead, they just kept it, and it's just, there's a lot of traffic, even when they're two little cats. Wow, finally there's some sun. It's been raining like cats and dogs for the last couple of days I've been here. It's awful. Bistro. There's a Irish pub. Meals. It's happening. they spent a couple bucks to build a commuter rail station. The train station existed when I was here, but not the big structure. I think down here is the Salem Common, I think. And as I stated earlier, this is a heavily concentrated area. However, I'm just gonna go right too. With more construction, yes, you heard me. More construction. Get up here is the no through traffic. This is a one-way. This is another one-way. Oh boy, boy, oh boy. We're headed towards an area called the Salem Common, which probably exists in most towns, most relatively small or medium-sized towns. Salem is not small; it's a pretty decent size. So the Salem Common is this sort of green park that people use for exercising, walking their dogs, etc., etc., etc. So here I think is the there are a bunch of sort of old museum. The one that's known as the Peabody Essex Museum, and then the Witch Museum right there. You see people are entering because they want to check out the witches. This is sort of an old hotel called the Hawthorne Hotel. And I think that's where Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote his book. So, Old Main Street pub. Here there's a famous famous psychic. She's known for, you know, for being officially the official witch of Salem. Salem has actually an official witch, and it's part of the big marketing brouhaha, so that they can attract people. Obviously this looks like a Domingo Dominguez is running for mayor, and he is competing with Steve Dibble. Yeah, right. Actually, no. Domingo Dominguez is running for councillor at large. And Steve Dibble is running for mayor for Salem. Okay. Let's see. So this is the seafront or the waterfront area. And you've got some pubs, bars, restaurants, this, that, and the other. You've got, I think you've got a place where you can shop for souvenirs, some witchy things. That's the area here. How do I know this? Well, I used to live around here. Yes, sirree. I used to live in Salem, courtesy again of Hussein and Lisa. Beautiful people, my people. Yes. Okay. Problem with these things is these places is that's run down by cars. Car parking has to be everywhere, and it's I don't know, not a big fan of cars, but what are you gonna do? You can't come here in any other way. So this is Friday, 4:15 p.m. and you can see up top the Oyster Bar restaurant is packed already, and I am not entirely sure these people are from here. I think most of these people are tourists. So there's a lot of boutiques that sell spooky things, including arts, spooky arts. And you know, you have kids that like to wear black clothes, that listen to gothic music. You have yeah, they have now outdoor seating. That's actually new, and you can only do that in summer, because in winter here, guys, run for your life. National Park Service. Lisa used to work here. That's how I learned a few things about the city, because she was a park ranger, and she was able to explain in extremely articulate ways the history of the city, of this town. And a lot of these sorry guys, I had to break because I just don't like to be the villain. So a lot of these houses are actually from the 17th century. You could see that, right? So there is the Mercy Tavern, tiny tavern, but very popular around this part of the Witch Brew Cafe. Anyway, we don't need to go all the way down. And I used to live with Hossein and Lisa. If you see at the very end, there's a house, and I think, and Lisa will correct me, and Hossein will correct me, I think it was the second floor. Yes, sorry. It was fun. It was very naive time. There was no politics involved. Everybody was minding their own business. And tiny streets. But you can see the old man fixing his place. And why not? Let's see, I like to film this car. I was going to pass it, but it looks like a cute, a little old-fashioned. There she is. Oh, look at that. Okay. Yep, there you go. 58. 58. What's the name of the street? I can't recall. I will find out in a moment. So looping back, you end up at the Hawthorne Hotel. And it's probably the biggest hotel in the region. So I don't have an ending, and instead, on my way back home, I stumbled upon this crazy traffic. I think this is 95 northbound, and Massachusetts traffic could be extremely notorious. And of course, it's not just Massachusetts, but you know, that's the place that I know. Anyway, have a look, and goodbye.